BookTube. This is my reading week. The first thing I read this week is The Shark That Bit Things He Shouldn't by Dennis Bond. Now this is a children's book. This is a book I read to my children over and over and over and over and over when they were small. They're now 18 and 20, and we were talking about it the other day and we couldn't find the book anywhere. We don't know where it disappeared to, so I actually found another copy of it on the internet. Got this second hand. It's actually in really good condition, and I read this again to my daughter who's away at university over the internet, and it is absolutely delightful. It's so much fun. I don't know why it's not as well known as it should be, because it's so funny and it's got fantastic illustrations and fantastic story, and absolutely loved it. So if you've got young children and you can track down this book, and I do believe Dennis Bond wrote other books in the series, I thoroughly recommend it because my children loved it. The next one is Illuminate by Amy Kaufman and J. Kristoff. I actually finally finished this book. I started this ages ago and I put it down twice, and it wasn't because I wasn't enjoying it. I just got sidetracked by other things. I found the first bit quite slow and ploddy, but it certainly started to pick up, and obviously I read it in thirds because I read a chunk, put it down, read a chunk, put it down, and certainly by the final third I was absolutely hooked and really enjoyed it. If this isn't on your radar, and it's been doing so much of the rounds on BookTube, it's the story of a planet that gets destroyed, that has a mining community on it, it was kind of an illegal colony, and it's the things that happen following the escape from that and the reasons why the planet was blown up, and it's all to do with, you know, capitalism and corporate crime and those kind of things. And I don't want to give too much away, but there's lots of twists and turns, and it's a really great read, and it's written in sort of a quite different way. It's sort of like as a dossier, and so you get transcripts of conversations that happen over the internet, and you will get copies of documents, and then you'll get pages like that. So yeah, it's a really interesting read. I do believe the follow-up, Gemina, is coming out in October, and I've already pre-ordered that because I certainly can't wait to see what happens next. The next book I read this week was Rusho by Shirley Barrett. This, I believe, was longlisted for the Bailey's Prize, and this is set in Australia in a whaling community in 1908, I think it's set, and it's the story of the eldest daughter, and it's her account of life in a whaling family where whaling was sort of becoming a dying industry, and it's the story of her father and the whalers that he employs for the season, and how they make their living from whales. It can be quite grisly in places, but I think you've got to put your mind in that time of where they didn't have, I mean, there's a reason whaling died out, is because we've got better and better things, so we don't need whale blubber for heat and light, and we don't need whalebone for corsets anymore. But that was very much what was generating the revenues from whaling in those days. And so you can, if you can sort of get past the fact that they're going out and killing an animal, and the way, and there are descriptions of how whales are killed, but it's not too grisly. It's a real part of history. It did really happen, and obviously you start to understand why. And it's about how her father works with a pod of killer whales to actually bring down bigger whales like humpback whales. And it's quite a heartwarming story. There are lovely characterizations in it. It feels like a very personal story. It does feel like, I mean, it's meant to be a memoir, and it really does feel like you are reading a real person's memoir. And so I really enjoyed it. I recommend it. And yeah, it's taught me a lot about whaling, and it's also made me glad that it's not really done in our society much anymore, although I do believe it still goes on in other parts of the world. And then the final one I read this week was Descender Volume 2 by Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen, and this takes on where Volume 1 left off, the story of Tim 21, and I absolutely love the first volume, and again I can't say that the second volume let me down at all. It was absolutely brilliant. It's really sort of building on all the themes in the story. It's continuing on where you know, a lot of the loose ends were left off, and then the characters are absolutely brilliant. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying the threads of the story. The art is absolutely fantastic in it. I love the colour palettes, and it just continues to get better and better. So I will definitely be carrying on with this. Can't wait to see the next instalment and see where we go with the story. And so yeah, if you're looking for a graphic novel series to start, I thoroughly recommend Descender. So that was my reading week. That was actually a pretty good week for me because I'm quite a slow reader and I tend not to get through as many as that in a week. Let me know if you've read any of these and what you're thinking about books, and keep reading, and I'll see you all soon. Bye!